Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. In this video, we're looking at the NBA slate for Saturday. So happy Saturday to everybody. We have a fun sports weekend with UFC action tonight, NBA conference championships tomorrow. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'll have videos out for the football slate tomorrow as well after this one. And for UFC, I'll probably post some pics on Twitter. I won't have a video out for that, but looking forward to the fights. Got into that during the quarantine when there wasn't much to play besides UFC. So, yeah, we'll be definitely looking forward to those fights tonight. But focusing on NBA today, have 7 games tonight. So let's get started. It's an 8 o'clock tip, so about 1 extra hour to kind of get some late news and kind of make our lineup. So let's get into it. As always, appreciate you guys. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. You can follow me on Twitter at the DFS Process for updates. If you want to check out Prize Picks, you can use the promo code promo code Process for a deposit match up to $100. And let's get started. So, looking at, we'll go position by position. I think don't mind doing that approach at all. So, starting off here at point guard, Luka Doncic is 10-7. It's a back-to-back. There's a lot of teams on back-to-backs after that monster of a slate that we had yesterday. Luka played 36 minutes, took 28 shots, missed a triple-double by 1 rebound. So he's been just awesome recently in terms of fantasy. Even with Porzingis back, he's still been super productive. Think we have quite a bit of value already on the slate, so if you wanted to go up to Luka Doncic, I do not blame you at all. James Harden, we saw Kevin Durant miss yesterday's game with an Achilles, probably just to rest him on a back-to-back, because they probably thought they would be able to beat Cleveland without Durant and wanted to save him for the Miami Heat, but they ended up losing that game last night, so I do think Durant will be back for this one. That's if Durant's in. I'm not that interested in paying 10-5 for Harden. I think all three of them are kind of tough to get to. LeBron is always questionable, but he always has typically played. He's against Chicago. I don't think I will probably go that route, although he is pretty cheap. I still think you can go back to Oladipo and D'Angelo Russell. Ended up getting off of Russell once we got some of the Toronto news with Kyle Lowry out. I ended up going to Van Fleet instead, and that worked out as somehow Russell had a horrible game against the Falcons. I mean, against the Hawks. I was not expecting that, but think you can go back to him. It's against the Pelicans, who on the season they haven't been playing as fast as usual, but they still give up. They still have some high scoring games, and the Timberwolves themselves play super fast. So hopefully they can stay in this game. He didn't log a ton of minutes last night with the blowout, so don't mind going to Russell again. I think Oladipo also looks like a good guy to go back to. 7,900. He was in a little bit of foul trouble, but he still played 35 minutes. Just couldn't hit a shot. 4 of 16. Just really struggled out there. But much better spot, I would say, in terms of pace. Pistons play pretty slow. Mavs are also not the fastest, but they do play faster than the Pistons. And Oladipo, I'm just expecting a bounce back game. I don't think he'll shoot that badly again. Also didn't do much in the assist and rebounding categories, but still had a high usage rate like he has. And he got up to 35 minutes, which is good after he only played 31 and 32 in the first couple games. So I definitely think Oladipo looks like a good guy to go back to. So right now, looking at Russell, looking at Oladipo, and then Chris Paul is looking like the guy that you will probably like to get to. He's $7,100. Devin Booker is doubtful for this contest after logging like pretty good minutes last night, and then he suffered a hamstring injury. So without Devin Booker, it's going to be Chris Paul running the show. He's going to get a ton of assist opportunities, have the ball in his hands, up and down the court. He hasn't been having monster fantasy games this season, but finally gets a spot without Devin Booker. The only concern is that it's a back-to-back, and he played 39 minutes in an overtime game. But it is against the same Denver team. But still a little bit of risk with the back-to-back, given Chris Paul's health and given his age. But I will definitely consider going to him at 71. I still think he looks strong. And now we already know that Tyler Hero's out for a couple more games, so Dragic hasn't been able to get anything done. He's 6,200. He's kind of been getting outplayed by Kendrick Nunn. But if you wanted to go back to him, his price tag keeps going up a little bit, although the production hasn't been there. I would assume we'd get one decent game out of Dragic, but it's been Kendrick Nunn who's been stealing the show off the bench and playing much, much better than Dragic. So if you wanted to go to one of them, I think you can go to Nunn. He still kind of gets lower owned than Dragic just because he comes off the bench. And now we'll see the Pistons are on a back-to-back. We'll see if they rest Derrick Rose. They have rested Rose on some back-to-backs, and they definitely have rested Blake Griffin on, I think, on all back-to-backs. So have some value in Detroit if both of them sit, or at least if Blake Griffin sits. And then we'll see about the Sixers if they ended up resting some guys on a back-to-back, like maybe Curry will sit, maybe Embiid will sit. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But as of now, I think that's kind of the main point guard options that I'm considering. At shooting guard, look at Zach LaVine. He's been killing it all season. Another strong game out of him. He's been like really, really good shooting the ball. Fun to watch play. He's had he's playing against the Lakers, tough defense, but he did go on the stretch like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, where he had 66 against the Clippers and 60 against the Lakers. He's a guy that if he gets hot, he's going to continue to shoot and is pretty much matchup proof. Like just super fast. Nobody can really stop him from getting to the rack. So I do like LaVine. I think he's definitely in play. I wouldn't just cross him off if you're making a bunch of teams. But I do like to get to Oladipo at 7,900. Just expect a bounce back game from him. His price tag went down by $100. Not much, but I just don't think he'll shoot that badly again. And I like the fact that John Wall is still out for. I think this might be his last game that he's gonna miss. So probably one more game where we can get Oladipo playing most of the point guard minutes. Although didn't really shear the ball. I mean, he kind of sheared the ball last night, but I think he'll bounce back tonight. So like Oladipo against the Mavs. And then definitely like Russell, like I mentioned, at the point guard spot, he's 86. And then you can maybe potentially go to like Nunn if you wanted to. If Butler still misses, he's 56. Have some decent value here with like maybe Joe Ingles, who's only 4,200. He's been coming off the bench as you would expect, but still been fine and productive. Not jumping off the page or not jumping off like a cliff to play Joe Ingles, but I think he can be a decent play at 4,200. KCP was unconscious last game. I definitely don't expect him to shoot that well again. But I probably won't get back to him. His price tag went up by a little bit. Josh Jackson is the guy that I would talk about. He's 3,700. Probably a good chance that Blake Griffin sits on a back-to-back situation. So if that's the case, probably will get Josh Jackson jumping into the starting lineup. And at 3,700, he would be a really nice value play. So he's one guy that I will be considering tonight. Probably plug him in at the guard spot. Definitely think Josh Jackson is cheap enough to be one of the better value plays if Blake Griffin sits. Moving on to power forward, we have Porzingis at 8,200. It's a back-to-back for him again. He played the last back-to-back. We'll see if he does that again. I think it's a 3 and 4 as well, so a little bit of a concern with the minutes and everything, but if we get word that he's going to play and start, then you got to think he looks good against Houston. I like Jeremy Grant. He's 78, even though he shot awful. 4 of 15, he still put up 39 fantasy points. Assuming Blake Griffin is out, I think gotta like his chances against the Sixers. Former team, a little bit of revenge maybe on his mind. He's been probably leading the NBA in a Most Improved Player of the Year vote as of now. He's been super awesome to watch. Score the basketball, 25 points per game. And then probably go cheap at this position if I'm not paying up for like Jeremy Grant or maybe Porzingis, maybe Brandon Ingram as well. Scroll down in the 5K range, you have not a ton of options that I'm really looking at. So scroll down into the 4K range. Maybe you can go to Vanderbilt at 47. Maybe you can go to Crowder. But I like Cam Johnson more than Crowder, who's only 4,400. And then I think you can look at like Bridges is small forward eligible. We'll touch on Bridges. He's 5,400. Kel Bridges been shooting the ball awesome this season. Over 50% from the floor, over 50 or 47% from three. He's had a couple of huge like tournament winning scores already this season. Logged a lot of minutes last night, but he's a young guy, so I'm not that worried about it. I think he looks great without Devin Booker being the number 2 scoring option besides Chris Paul. He's 5,400, so he's not even that expensive. So definitely think Bridges looks like a strong option to pay in the mid 5K range for. In that 4K range, you can go to Cam Johnson, who's cheap. Maybe you can look at like Kaminsky if you wanted to go super cheap here. But I think Vanderbilt looks fine at 47, and I do like Cam Johnson. At center, you have Jokic against the Suns. He's been playing a lot of minutes all season. Played 40 in an overtime game. Almost had another triple-double, which he's been doing pretty regularly. He's not averaging triple-double anymore. 9.9 assists per game for him right now. He looks fine if you wanted to pay over 10,000 for him. I like him more than Embiid in a back-to-back. I like him. Yeah, definitely more than Embiid. Towns still out. Davis 93 against Chicago. It's a smash spot, but I this game could easily get out of hand maybe with the Chicago Bulls on a back-to-back. So a couple guys to consider. You have Gafford, who played well. He's only 3,200. He's a guy that you definitely can go back to. And then you have DeMarcus Cousins, who's only 5,100. I think he looks like a strong play tonight. He's even though it's a back-to-back, he played 33 minutes. Christian Wood is doubtful. He shot as worse as he could have shot, and he still killed it with the value. Shot 2 of 16, and he still put up 36 DraftKings points. Like, this shows how much upside he has. Even if he hit like a 40% of his shots, you're looking at like a 45 burger out of Cousins. So I gotta like him. He also put up 11 DraftKings points in just 2.5 minutes against the Mavs. They don't really have a front court besides Porzingis with Cauley-Stein. It's fine defensively, but nothing that Cousins will be scared of. I like Cousins. Talked about Gafford, and then you had like Thaddeus Young. He's not center, like power forward. He's 46, but I think Gafford looks better at 32 with Wendell Carter still doubtful for tonight. Yeah, he's doubtful. So probably could look at Gafford as well as a cheap play. And then moving on to guard, we have like Josh Jackson, who I think looks fine without, well, assuming Blake Griffin sits at 3,700, don't mind getting to him at all. And then for the final option, we have like almost 7,000 left. So we did talk about D'Angelo Russell bouncing back. He is 8,600. We saw De'Aaron Fox go absolutely nuts against this same Pelicans team like a week ago. Russell's been playing well, except for the game last night against the Hawks. Like, Clint Capella was kind of a huge force at like 7 blocks. Capella's been on another level recently. It's against the Pelicans. They have Steven Adams down there, but I still like the upside that Russell presents. He kind of is a volatile player because sometimes he'll get you like 56, sometimes he'll get you like 40, then you could see him get you close to 60, and then other times he'll get you in the 20s. But it's at home. It's against the Pelicans. I'm expecting them to be able to stay in this game, and I just like what Russell brings to the table. So hopefully Russell goes off tonight. He's only 86, so he's not even that. He's expensive, but I think compared to some of the guys in the similar price range, like I definitely don't mind getting to him. And still have 6,100 left, so still plenty to fill out the last 2 spots. But this is what I'm looking at as of 8:44 in the morning. So thanks for watching. Let's go over to FanDuel and touch on their pricing. All right, on FanDuel, starting off at point guard, you have Luka Doncic at 10.8. We'll see if we get some more value during the day. Maybe it'll be easier to get to him. Still think it's fine. You can easily get to him if you wanted to, but you also do have like a really cheap Chris Paul at 6,900. You have Jamal Murray is also super cheap at 6,800. Kobe White, another good game last night. Well, given his price tag at 61, he dropped like 36, so it's 6x on FanDuel. He looked good as well, even though the matchup is tough. Just the price tag on him is super cheap. You have Dragic if you wanted to go back to him. If Butler still misses. So you do have a ton of point guard a plethora of point guard options if you may. And I still think that Chris Paul looks to be the best at 69, given the price tag and given the fact that Devin Booker is not going to play. Shooting guard, I like Zach LaVine at 93. And Oladipo was 88. On DraftKings, they're separated by like over $1,000. So I think Zach LaVine looks better than Oladipo on FanDuel. Also like the price tag on D'Angelo Russell. 81, he's so much cheaper he's like $500 cheaper than he is on DraftKings. And I do like getting to him on FanDuel at that cheap price tag. And then definitely don't think I will pay like 80, or no, I thought, don't think I'll pay 85 for Mitchell. Also don't think I'll pay 7,000 for Wiggins. Scroll down a little bit more, like, don't think I'll have interest in Rose, Hardaway, Nawaba. So not a ton in the cheap end shooting guard on FanDuel. So it's probably a spot to pay up for like both of your spots unless you wanted to punt with somebody. But just don't see anybody that's viable right now. Small forward, you have like KD. I don't think I'll get to him. Probably won't get to almost $10,000 LeBron. We'll see if Butler plays. If he's in, I don't have interest in him either. Grant is okay. He's kind of expensive on FanDuel. Like him a little more on DraftKings. So another spot where you can kind of go cheap here for like Mikal Bridges at 55. He looks great without Devin Booker getting more shots, more usage. And he's actually been really good this season. So he looks strong. Also have Cam Johnson, who's cheap if you wanted to go to him at 4,400 instead of Bridges and save some extra money. So you have like Johnson, who's cheap. You have Joe Harris, Joe Ingles. They're both affordable. Then if you wanted to pay up, you have Bridges as a mid-range option, Kelly Oubre in the mid-range. And then maybe Beasley can finally have a good game. Yeah, he was on pace to have a good game yesterday, but the game kind of got out of hand. Yeah, at least shot the ball well. Maybe he can carry that into tonight. And then Brandon Ingram is really cheap at 77. Moving on to power forward. No Christian Wood. He's doubtful. So without him, you got to look at Cousins. We'll get to him at center. But at power forward, I think that Lauri Markkanen at 67 is worthy of a look. It's a tough matchup, but he has the kind of upside to like put up a 40 burger at that price tag. Also, not a ton to pay up for, so maybe you can look at Jared Vanderbilt at 46. You have Crowder, who's cheap. You have PJ Tucker, maybe, but also have Gafford, who's like almost his min price at 3,500 if you wanted to go to Gafford. There's not a ton that I'm looking at paying up for at power forward besides Porzingis, so I think I'll probably go cheap, and I do like Gafford at that mid price. Lakers play pretty big, so hopefully you have to play. He only played like 19 minutes last night. Maybe you have to play more tonight if he's playing well and the Lakers are kind of dominating the paint with like Harrell and like Gasol and like with Davis. And then at center, if you're not going all the way up for Jokic, or like you could look at DeAndre Ayton as a mid-range play at 78. We'll definitely get a bump without Devin Booker be the number 2 guy instead of number 3 guy. But still tough for me not to pass up on Cousins. Man went 2 of 16 and he still put up like 30, 35, I think, FanDuel points. 34.5. 15 boards, 7 assists. Could have had a triple-double if he was a little bit better with the scoring and assists. But he's just super productive when he's out there. And he also wasn't even on a limit at 32 minutes. That's the most he's played all season. So, you gotta like him. I think he looks great. And the matchup isn't terrible either. It's against Dallas, so he matches up well against Paulie Stein. So, this is pretty much it for FanDuel. Still easy with almost 8,000 left, so feel free to pay up for some spots. But thanks for watching. Appreciate it, and good luck today.